What is up with it? Today we are going to be watching a little bit more of Noel's gameplay. This time he is going to be playing as Shanks, of course, versus Bello. And I know a lot of people think that Bello might just be a troll deck or it's not good or whatever. Um, I would like to refer you to, I believe, Eggman's most recent video. Maybe it won't be at the time that you watch this, but he goes through the ranked ladder stats, and if you actually look at the numbers, Bello is a force, man. Bello is crazy. It wins versus actually everything besides exactly Dofi, is what the numbers say. Um, so honestly, something you could consider taking to an LCQ or a side event. Um, genuinely, you could consider queuing it if you really believe, like, hey, all the best players are going to be taking Dofi, so you probably don't want to take it to Nats. But that next ring down of players, maybe they're not as hyper focused on playing the quote unquote best deck. Maybe you're more likely to see Shanks, Lucci, BY, Bonnie, um, Ploofy. Like maybe you're just more likely to play into all of those things. Maybe you'll play the LCQ and only play one Dofi. If you believe that, if you want to make that meta call, Bello is the deck to take. I'm telling you right now. So let's see me hype it up and for Noel to just probably destroy them. Honestly, um, so let's get into it, man. I'm excited. I haven't watched any Bello gameplay. I've played versus it a few times on ladder as Dofi, of course. So my experience is that the deck is terrifying but very winning for me. So not a strong start from the Betty. I could be wrong. I don't know the nuances of the Bello deck, but I really don't think that's what you're looking for on your 3 Dawn turn. Noel looks like he's laughing. Like he just passed on his 4 Dawn turn. Does not want to give the Betty any gas. Um, Interesting strategy. I'm Very interesting strategy that he's saying, look, I'm probably just going to be swinging at the board the rest of the game until I have an overwhelming presence. So if I'm going to be doing that, I might as well keep you at 4 life. Okay, so it looks like we trashed a card as the Betty just to boost up our Ivankov to play. I actually don't know the name of this character, to be honest with you. Let's see if I can boost up this resolution, man. Twitch, I hate Twitch. All right, that looks so much better. Sorry about that. Okay, we're going to go ahead and play the Marco. Um, and to be honest with you, I don't know. And then he just passed. Yeah, he really does not want to give this Bello any cards. He's saying, look, I'm not going to be able to race you. I'm not going to try to race you. And he's just trying to starve. I forget exactly what this 4 drop does. He scrolls over it, but he has so much stuff on his overlap that I can't even read it. I believe it's a win attacking if you have like a 7,000 power character or more, something like that. I think it KOs something. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe we'll see it come up. And my apologies if I cough at all in this video. I am a little bit under the weather, but still trying to bring you guys content. Um, so my apologies for that. This Bello is really in the think tank. Um, kind of wondering what they're thinking about. I'm not sure if it's going to be possible for him to KO the Marco, but if he can, I don't hate doing it. Um, Even though the Marco will revive itself, you're still ripping an event out of the Shanks' hand, and I have to imagine he's going to be relying on some events to stabilize out of some of these big swings, which we are going to be seeing some big swings here. Shouldn't be too scary as we are going to have the Rayleigh for next turn, which I imagine will be very strong. Okay, so it looks like he will be KOing this Marco, if I'm understanding the way that this works. My apologies. I do consider myself someone who has very good card knowledge. Bello Betty, though, being the like 10th most represented deck, I honestly am not as versed with every single one of her cards. If I was playing a losing matchup or an even matchup into Bello Betty, I'd probably spend a little bit more time studying it. But that's kind of what we're doing here. We're just trying to learn what it does. Okay, so he's taking that 8K swing, and sure enough, he did revive the Marco. So I did like this play. So already putting the Shanks down to 2 life. That's not something easy to do. He's got infinite bricks in hand. Oh, and just gonna swing 10. And that 10's gonna get through. Wow, this is getting scary for the Shanks player. This is getting really scary. Um, the dragon here would be an interesting choice. Yeah, I gotta imagine it's always the Rayleigh. I gotta imagine we're always KOing. Yep, that standing character. Swinging into the board. I have to imagine the Bello Betty is not gonna be able to protect those with only 3 cards in hand. The starving of the Betty looking really good here. Maybe this could be an example of why. Oh, the dragon. Oh, the dragon is so strong here. Oh, he's going to take 2 cards out of our hand, and then we are going to be forced um, to take this next one. Wow. I Bello Betty almost hesitating, almost not wanting to swing into life. I have to imagine we're just trying to race here, right? I wonder what they're thinking about. There's no way we're ever swinging into the Marco. Swinging into the Marco. Oh, just leaving it standing. Okay. Okay. I don't hate it. I don't hate it saying, "Hey, you're going to have to swing into me. I want these cards out of my life." Um but we're at the point where the Shanks is wide enough where he can swing 3 times and say, "Hey, look, I'll threaten lethal next turn too." We can both be threatening lethal. Um, oh, countering. Okay, so the Bello Betty deciding, hey, I don't want to go down to 1. I only want to go down to 2. I think if I go down to 2, oh, the blocker trigger. Okay. Oh, he's got to read it. He's like, what does this card even do? I get it. I'm right with you. Okay, so if the total of your life cards and your opponents are 5 or less, you may play this card. Okay. I have to imagine we're going to see the Rayleigh come down, trying to draw 2, filter out one of these bricks, hopefully find a second Rayleigh. Um, or, hmm. I mean, if the Bello Betty just goes for it, do we die? Um, I think it depends on the life, right? Have we put the Bello Betty in a situation where we have to go for it? If we put the Bello Betty in a situation just now where they have to go for it, I kind of really don't like this play. Um, but maybe he thinks with the Dawn. Oh God, we have Bello Betty leader effect too. I totally forgot about that. I'm really not a huge fan of this line from Noel because he can go 11-13, and if he does that and we don't find um, exactly a counter event in our life, we just lose. Um, yeah, we lose. GG. If he goes for it, we just lose. Yeah. Yeah, really not a fan of that line from Noel there. I think we have to absolutely play the 5-drop Rayleigh. Try and slow the game down, make it so that we get to live one extra turn and then try and kill the following turn. Um, I would have even liked to play the Rayleigh before we swung. Um, Maybe that could have been a bad idea. Maybe we could have hit a bad trigger in life that would have really messed us up. But I think knowing if we can filter first or like what we're gonna get off of the draw two, I think is gonna give us some real context of what we should do with our remaining 5 Dawn. Because Noel decided to bluff the two Dawn. He's saying, "Hey, look, I have some events in my hand. I will counter out if you try to go for game." The issue with this plan, it's a phenomenal plan. I really believe that bluffing is a great piece of the game that a lot of players miss. Um, However, it doesn't work if you're threatening game. Like, what does Noel expect the Betty to do here? The Betty is at 2 life. You have 4 potential swings, big potential swings. Betty doesn't play that much counter. Like, he thought the Betty was gonna go Rebecca Sabo and wait an extra turn. Like, I, please leave the comment below if you strongly disagree with me, if you think that Noel's line was the correct line there. But to me personally, I don't think you can bluff having something if simultaneously you are forcing your opponent to do the thing that you are trying to bluff them to not do. Um, like if Noel was gonna try and bluff the counter, he almost had to not swing into his opponent, which obviously he was in a position where he had to swing into his opponent. You know, you can't he can't give the Bello Betty 3 more turns by continuing to starve. Um, but I think not swinging this dragon ended up working out really well. I'm still not 100% sure that was the correct play. I guess it really depends on what was in their hand, but um, it ended up working out pretty well for them. So I definitely I like a lot what Noel was doing early on, starving the Bello Betty. I think we saw on that 8 Dawn Rayleigh turn the fact that he had been starving the Bello Betty really, really worked out. Because if he had been swinging into the opponent, perhaps they could have countered and protected their board a little bit. Um, However, this last turn, I mean, I'd love to hear a discussion on this because I really am not a fan of the way we played it. It wasn't a game that we were likely to win, regardless of what we did that last turn. I don't think. Um, but I think we put ourselves in a position where we knew we lost. Our only win condition was, hey, I'm gonna get kind of lucky and find, you know, the Red Hawk or the zero cost or the Rad Beam off of life. If I don't find one of those 3 things, I just lose. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this Bello Betty video as much as I did. This was honestly one of the most fun videos I've made to this point. Just seeing something a little off meta, something a little different. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day.